Welcome, 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 welcome. I can't say it often enough, what an enjoyment, a pleasure, and a privilege it is, and an honor to be in your presence. I'm grateful you're here. Those of you in the room, those watching on DVD or TV, those listening on CD, I'm grateful to you. I've been credited with coining the term road rage, which is I did not. I did popularize the term. I did testify before Congress concerning the aggressive driving phenomena going on in America. The title of today's lecture is The 6 Profiles for Road Rage, Angry Driving, and Aggressive Driving. The 6 profiles for road rage, angry driving, and aggressive driving. So I worked out a series of tests to measure people's reactions to various situations that go on the road and develop profiles for each type of road rage or aggressive driver and angry driver. Now, just so you know, to review some statistics with you, we have approximately 41,000 deaths in America a year due to car collisions. NHTSA has determined that 2/3 of those are due to aggressive driving. That means approximately 29,000 a year. Depends on the year, sometimes more, sometimes less. 29,000 deaths a year in America due to aggressive driving. That means in 3 years, we lose more Americans on American soil than we did in the Vietnam War, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and the terrorist attacks combined. Let me say that again. We lose in 3 years more Americans due to aggressive driving than we did in the wars in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the terrorist attacks combined. That's how serious it is. Extremely serious issue. And through my work, I've determined the 5 causes of road rage and aggressive driving, and particularly angry driving, which is one form of aggressive driving. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And I discovered the cure. Actually discovered the cure. And I've given that on other lectures. I'll review some of that today. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the profiles. And you're going to see yourself, and very often more than one profile applies. Some people 2 profiles apply, or 3. Now, we found in our research of interviewing 1,500 people, we found out 53% of Americans have an angry driving problem where they show angry driving to another driver at least 2 or more times a year. That is, they make obscene gestures, flip somebody off, yell at them, flick the headlights up and down, tailgate out of retaliation, or cut people off out of retaliation, screaming, sometimes throwing something. Now, road rage is felonious angry driving. It gets to a point where somebody rams with a car, which, by the way, is done more by women, or shoots somebody, which, by the way, is done more by men, or gets out of the car and assaults somebody. That's road rage. That's felonious angry driving. Aggressive driving includes speeding, zigzagging out of traffic, so it's a wider category. But with angry driving, when you're doing these things, beeping your hood out of anger and so forth, it distracts some people from the road. They turn around and it could be a collision. So we're going to talk particularly about angry driving today, which is, a very virulent form of aggressive driving. We're going to focus on that. We're going to also talk some about road rage as well. We have a measure to measure these things. We found that the main variable determines whether you're an angry driver, whether you show anger on the road or not, is not socioeconomics, not how much money you make. You could be rich, you could be poor, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It could be a Mercedes, a Rolls Royce, a beat up old Ford, doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what age you are. It could be 19 or 89, 99, doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what the main variable that we found was that makes you and your children and your nieces and nephews more at risk for being an angry driver on the road, where they're showing anger to other drivers at least 2 or more times a year. I'm going to tell you what it is. It won't surprise you when I tell you. Parenting. If your parents showed angry driving on the road, you're more at risk of being an angry driver. So one of the profiles we get into is what we call parented angry driver profile. Parental angry driver profile. That's a major one. Now, there's 5 other profiles, but each of those are exacerbated and made worse if you have a parented angry driver. Why? I'm going to tell you what the others are. Cut-off angry driver, tailgated angry driver, impatient angry driver, angered at me angry driver, parking space angry driver. So you have those 5. Here's the kicker. If you have any of those 5 profiles, cut-off angry driver, tailgated angry driver, impatient angry driver, angered at me angry driver, parking space angry driver, and you saw your parents getting angry, flipping people off, screaming at them, beeping the horn because they're angry, flicking the headlights up and down, any of these combinations, you're more likely to think that's normal. You just grow up. I was talking to one of my patients today, and he said he saw his parents doing it, and he was 25 years old before he realized that was the wrong thing to do. He just thought that's what happens. You go on the road, somebody cuts you off, you catch up with them, you flip them off, scream at them. That's just what you do. It's normal. So once you have parents that are doing that, so if you do that, you're putting your children at risk to becoming angry drivers and at risk to being killed in an aggressive driving incident. If your children see you doing it, they say, well, that's what you do. You drive, you curse at people, you flip them off, you flick your headlights up and down. Maybe you throw something at them. Maybe just throw some coffee so it's the guy in the back of them because of something they did back in the road. It becomes normal. So yeah, if you have a parented angry driving profile, it makes the people more resistant to overcoming the other 5. You see that relationship? Now, I want to go over, and I'm going to actually demonstrate this with you today. I'm going to talk to different people here, but I deal a lot with professional drivers, professional truck drivers. So we have people who are professional truck drivers who have angry driving problems, and a lot of them have 2 to 3 profiles where they're actually doing this on the road as professionals, which not only puts them at danger, the public at danger. If they got into an aggressive driving and angry driving incident, guess what happens? They get sued. The company gets sued. For example, there was one trucking company that their driver crashed his truck into the state capitol building. Well, the state government sued that trucking company for $400 million. They hired me as an expert witness on the case. $400 million. Well, if that trucking company had put people through a program such as the one I've developed, that would have shown they acted proactively. It would have cut their litigation exposure. It's not only showing concern for their drivers and the public and saving American lives on American soil. That's, by the way, a theme of this whole process, saving American lives on American soil. When we bring this to Mexico, we'll be saving Mexican lives on Mexican soil. Whatever country we bring it to, that's the theme. So, number one, money-wise, it shows, hey, we acted proactively. We put them through the program. They watched the program, the DVDs of Dr. Nerenberg, the world's leading authority on road rage, has developed America's road rage therapist. We acted responsibly. So instead of having to pay out $400 million, the sum would have been much less. Whatever they paid, it would have been much less because they did their part. Now, so I'm going to go over this now, and I'm going to go over some cases that I already had that I've run these tests. So I'm going to go over. This is called Profile 1. It's called Profile Determination. So there's only 7 questions in this, but it gives an idea of which profile to go to investigate further. So if somebody, so it goes, please circle how much each applies to you in terms of anger, frustration, or agitation. 0 is not at all, 1 is a little, 3 is medium, and 5 is a lot. Okay, 0 to 5, from not at all to a lot. And if somebody answers 4 or 5, that's a sign that there's an angry driving profile that applies to that person. If they go 1 or 2 or 3, we're not going there. But if it's 4 or 5, then we go into a further investigation of the potential angry driving profile of the other 5. One of the 6 included the parented angry driving. Okay, so the first one is cutting you off while driving. That's the first one. Second one is someone tailgating you. The third one is someone slowing you down by driving too slowly. Fourth is someone taking your parking space for which you were waiting. And number 6, people yelling at you or making obscene gestures, beeping the horn at you or flicking the headlights up and down for something wrong they think you did. And then number 6, is someone breaking the rules, such as going through a red light. And number 7, as a child, you saw your parent or parent figure show anger at other drivers. Those are really, each one defines, if you give a 4 or 5, indicates that you potentially have an angry driving profile related to that. But again, even if you answer yes to those and give it a 4 or 5, but you never show anger, you just said inside, you don't have an angry driving profile. Angry driving is only defined by showing the anger to another driver. You might, otherwise, we call road annoyance. You're mumbling under your breath what idiots they are, but this doesn't. But you're not an angry driver. It's where you're showing it, obscene gestures, flicking your headlights up and down, tailgating in retaliation, or cutting somebody off in retaliation, beeping your horn out of anger. Those are the signs then that you exhibited an angry driving pattern. So what I'm going to do is start with one person here who's a driver. Henry, let's start with you. I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? You answer honestly. I mean, nobody knows who you are. You can hear your voice. You're not in the camera. So I'm going to ask you to rate from 0 to 5. You're a professional driver, right?
Forklift operator.
A forklift operator. Okay, so we'll talk with you because then with you personally. So someone cutting you off while driving, would you rate it from 0 to 5 in terms of how angry or agitated or frustrated you get?
Probably
2. Okay, so that would not qualify to even investing any further in terms of what we call cutting you off, angry driving. So that will leave it at that. Someone tailgating you.
6.
2. Okay. Someone slowing you down by driving too slowly. 2. See, Henry's a mellow guy. 4. Someone taking a parking space for which you were waiting.
Like more.
Huh?
More.
So that's your thing, is a 2 on that. People yell at you or making obscene gestures, beeping the horn at you, flicking the headlights up and down for something wrong they think you did.
What the radio?
So you don't get that's a 2 also. Someone breaking the rules, such as going through a red light.
They're getting a ticket about me.
So you don't have a problem with that either. As a child, did you see your parents show anger at other drivers or not? Your dad did.
Cabron and this and that. I think you called it.
So when you were younger, did you have an angry driving problem? Did you get angry at other drivers or not?
Started driving me on, I drove next to my dad, but he had temper.
So he would show his anger at other drivers. Let me go. So let me ask you this. As a child, you saw your father show anger at other drivers. Would you rate that from 0 to 5? What would you give it?
What do you mean?
Did he did a little bit, medium, or a lot? Did he do it?
Oh, he was at least a bus.
So he was up there. From 0 to 5, he was a 5. Okay, so Dad was a 5. Okay, so now we're going to look at, you're a parented angry driver. So I'm going to ask you some questions. And I'm going to ask you again, when you were younger, like 20 years old, 21, did you show angry driving to other drivers or not? You did. So that would have been a different profile. Now, how old are you now?
Oh,
You're 52. So over the years, you've mellowed. But so when you were younger, did you beep your horn if somebody cut you off or show them the finger? So you did. You would show, would you give it a 4 or 5 or when you were younger?
right, it was.
7, I'd be beyond 5. So you really had a severe profile in terms of being, we call that a cut-off angry driver. If someone tailgated you when you were younger, did you get pretty angry at that when you were younger or not?
Yeah.
5?
Or it been bust.
5, even beyond the 5. So you're a tailgate angry driver, and you showed it by beeping your horn and showing the finger and so forth. Get in front of them and slow down. So you met a number of the profiles in your younger years. If someone slowed you down when you were younger, did you get angry at that or not?
Well,
So you had 3 profiles that applied to you. And if someone got mad at you and flipped you off and beeped your horn for something they thought you did wrong, would you show anger to them or not?
well,
Depends. So not always. Okay. It's up to us. If someone took your parking spot when you were younger, what would that rate?
it's part of the spot.
That was never a problem. Never was a problem. Okay. So you had about 3 angry driving profiles. You had a parent. You still have a parented angry driver problem, but you've overcome it. You had a cutoff angry driver profile, a tailgated angry driver profile, an impatient angry profile. So you have 4 profiles that would apply to you then. Now you just have the parented one, and it doesn't really apply. So, in terms of, so your father, so we have one for parented angry driving. Let me show you what that looks like. So a parented angry driver, so your father would beep his horn. Did he show people the finger? Did he ever get out of the car and confront somebody?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So did he ever hit somebody? He'd get out and do it. So you definitely had a strong parented angry driver background, and it showed up in you in your younger years.
Well, I mean,
In your younger years, not now. Okay. All right, now let me go over some here. One patient said he's a professional truck driver, and if somebody cut him off, he gave it a 4, and also gave it a 4 for an impatient angry driver. So it's a cutoff angry driver profile and impatient angry driver profile in his personal driving. But when it came to his professional driver, his truck driver, he didn't show that. Yeah. Also, if his children were in the car, he didn't show it. So if he was by himself in his personal driving, he had 2 angry profiles. When he was driving his truck and he drove a big rig, he didn't show it. And when his children were in his personal car, he didn't show it. So, and then we have now a woman. She had somebody cut her off. And also, if someone went through a red light, she had what's called an instructor angry driving problem. An instructor angry driving problem. Yep. Angry, impatient, tailgater. Yeah, we got the instructor. So there's 6, and then a parented angry driver. So an instructor. So you have tailgated. Yeah, you actually have with this nomenclature, you really have 6, and then you've got parented angry driver that exacerbates all 6 of them. So there's really 6. You have instructor angry driving profile. So she adds, you have people who are self-appointed instructors. They see somebody break the law, they'll go catch up to them, yell at them, or flick the headlights, or beep the horn, saying, hey, you went through a red light, you idiot, or whatever. And they just volunteer their time to do this, but it creates a problem. So what's amazing is that people think that, at least in L.A., that 35% of the people carry a loaded gun in the car. So people in L.A. still show angry driving, thinking that 35% of the people are armed. So they're putting themselves at risk in their own minds. I'm not saying 35% have a loaded gun, but people think, you take the average, some people think 75% are carrying, some people think 10%. On the average, people think 35% carry a loaded gun. So then we had a gentleman. He was, if someone was angry at him, he would rate it a 5, and he would show angry driving patterns. In fact, if he told his score, it would be a 9. He added them up, and we're going to go over some of those scores with you. And then also, if somebody showed anger to him, if someone took his parking space, he rated a 5 as well. People get really, and he would show anger in many different ways. So people taking your parking space, there have been some road rage incidents where people will literally run another person over. And certainly people come back. There have been people come back and scratch the car up. He took my spot. They don't say anything. You go into the mall or whatever. They come back, take the key, go right down it. That happens. One of the things happens. Then we had another person. He didn't have any angry driving profile. Then we had another gentleman who had 3: cut-off angry profile, tailgating angry profile, and it was energized by a parent angry profile, angry driver profile. So he thought it was normal, and so that was his case. And we have another one who had someone took his parking space. He gave it a 5. And if someone's yelling at him, he would react, and he would have an angry driving profile around that. We have a woman who's a driver, professional driver. Well, if someone took a parking space, she gave it a 5. If someone would tailgate, and then would actually show angry. So then when you go into looking into what angry behaviors they would have, she would gave it a 1 on 3 different dimensions. Then we had another guy who was a driver by profession, and he gave cut off angry driver. He gave it a 4. Someone take his parking space was a 5, and he was a parented angry driver. So a parented angry driver, if when I went to that profile, he had a 7, and I'll show you what that's involved in. And then he had in terms of someone take his parking space, he had up the things that he had going on was a 4. So these just give you, now for professional drivers, so we're talking about saving American lives on American soil. Because now we're talking about Americans. But a second theme is be all the professional you're meant to be. So for professional drivers, saying be all the professional you're meant to be. And also, as Americans, I would say it's your patriotic duty to overcome whatever angry driving profile you have. It's your patriotic duty just to save American lives on American soils. If you're in Mexico, or you say it's your patriotic duty to save Mexican lives on Mexican soil. Because Americans are killing more Americans on the road than we lost in 3 years, more than all our enemies killed of us in 3 years. Our enemies killed fewer of us in 3 years than we've killed each other with our aggressive driving. So it's our patriotic duty to overcome these angry driving profiles. Now, when I've talked to people and I've gone over their profiles with them, they said they're grateful. They said, yeah, I didn't realize it was so severe till you gave me these tests. I didn't know I was that much. I've got to overcome that. And so then I give the cure. I'm going to give you, now here's the cure for angry driving. All the profiles is this. And it took me years to find the cure. Here's the cure for angry driving. Then I'm going to give you a secondary cure for it, but I'm going to give you the primary one. I want to say to you this. Firstly, how many of you show anger to another driver at least 2 more times a year? Raise your hand, please. That you show anger at least 2 more times a year. So a little over half. That's typical, 53%. In our study, 1,500 people have that problem. Now, what I found was there's only one way to get people to say, I want to overcome this. You could say, this is bad, you get killed, somebody else get killed, won't stop. Some people will stop because they don't want their kids to pick up the habit, but not many. Some people stop because they feel like they can get sued, but not many. But the way I found that 100% of people say, yes, I want to overcome this, 100%, not 99.9, 100%, it's this. I say, you can see these people, they say, look, first let me tell you what the problem was. Angry drivers will say this to me, Doc, I don't have a problem. I don't. It's those idiots. If they weren't so damn stupid and discourteous and disrespectful on the road, I wouldn't be flipping them off, beeping my horn, tracking, chasing them down and cutting them off and tailgating. I wouldn't do it. But somebody's got to stop these idiots. Okay? So that's why the first 2 years I was not successful in my work. Okay? The 2 years, I was not very successful. Then I found the cure. You ready? It goes like this. I say to them, look, I have a whole class. I say, look, can you consider them idiots, right? Yeah. And God, by the way, when I say 53%, I don't care if you're talking about psychologists, truck drivers, police officers, clergymen, 53%, over 50% have an angry driving problem. Could be your minister, your rabbi, the police officer you're seeing in his personal court, 53%. Well, remember, parenting was the main issue, not profession. Psychologists, 53%. So here's the cure. You ready? You say, well, you consider these other people idiots, right? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to give those idiots control over your emotion, over your anger? It's like putting a big sign on your car saying, I don't care what nationality, race, or religion, or what gender you are, I'll let any one of you make me into a raving lunatic. How many of you want to surrender your control to these idiots? Raise your hand. Nobody raises it. Nobody says, yeah, I want to give control to the idiots. Yeah, that's me. No, nobody. How many of you want to keep that control for yourself? 100% raise their hand. Or 100% are raising their hand here. So then we have what I call a law of honor. I used to call it power thought. Now I call it law of honor is, I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever. I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever. And if you repeat that once an hour for 3 weeks, you're cured. Once an hour for 3 weeks, you're done. You won't give those idiots that control over your anger. And you know what? That carries over then to your personal life too, where people can control you less, even in your personal life outside of driving. That's the good news. Once an hour for 3 weeks and you're done. Now, a secondary thought that you can use, and this can apply to all areas of your life, but we're talking right now in terms of angry driving. Somebody cuts you off. I'll go, well, that son of a gun. He can't do that to me. People say, he disrespected me. Hell, he could have killed me. My kids are in the car. Gets in front of him, yells at him, beats his horn, cuts him right off. I'll teach that guy. He did that. He feel disrespected. So here's the thought. We'll call it one of the laws of honor. Ready for the second one? Is this. It's nothing personal. There's nothing personal. Just what the guy does. He's just in a rush. He made a mistake. It really wasn't aimed at you. It's nothing personal. So if you go, I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever, that'll do the job in itself. If you want to strengthen it, you can add, it's nothing personal. And you know what? It's going to help you in your personal life too, because you got somebody looked at you a certain way or did something to you, and you took it personally, and it's nothing personal. It's just the way that guy or that woman deals with things. They did it before, the people will do it again. It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing personal. It's just business or whatever you want to say, but it's just how they do their lives. So the main one is, every hour, I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever. And if you need a secondary one, which I recommend, it's nothing personal. All right. So there's a cure, the Nerenberg cure for angry driving. Took me years to find it. It sounds so simple. So we went through profile 1, which is profile determination. Now what we'll do, we'll go through parking space angry driving profile. So this one is, please circle how much each applies to you. And I say also answer confidential. Again, 0 is never, 1 is sometimes, 3 is medium, 5 is often. I get angry when I'm waiting for a car to pull out of a parking space, and as soon as they do, someone rushes in and takes it. So that's the basic one. If you give it a 4 or 5, we then go into this. If you on the profile determination one, if you gave it a 4 or 5, then we go into one specifically aimed at that profile. Number 2, okay. When I'm waiting for a car to pull out of a parking space, and as soon as I do, someone rushes in, I'll beat my horn at them. And then you rate it from 0 to 5. So beeping the horn, now they're starting to show an angry driving. Some people just get annoyed. They don't do anything. They don't beep the horn, and they just go on and look for another parking space. So now they start showing their anger. Okay, number 3 is I'll yell at them. Okay. Number 4, I'll flip them off. 0 to 5. Now, let's get more aggressive. I'll get out of my car and kick their car. There are people that do that. Took my spot, you get out, you kick the person's car, or they bang it with their fist. People do that. You get really angry when you take their space. Or I will get something out of my car and go over there. I'll sometimes get in my car and go over to the window and yell or flip them off. So now it's getting more aggressive. Number 7, I will later go to their car and damage it. Give them a flat tire, let the air out of the tire, scratch it. People do that. Okay, it's still angry driving. It's a parking space angry driving profile. It's not road rage yet because it's not a felony yet. Now I'll go over and punch them. Now we're talking getting into the range of assault and battery. We're talking assault. Now we're getting into a road rage, felonious angry driving. So it goes beyond just showing your anger. Now we're going in. So if you score even a 1 on number 8, you have a road rage disorder. So right now, in the context of assessing for an angry driving profile, we're also assessed for a road rage disorder. If you go over at even once, sometimes, because 5 is often is even worse. But so the higher the number, the higher the total, the more severe the problem. If somebody gave 5 to each of these things, that would be like 40. I mean, that's really very felonious and angry. But even if they give a 1 to that one, they have a road rage disorder. Now, if you score a total of 7 or above on the items 1 through 7, you have taking my space angry driving profile. If you scored 1 on number 8, you suffer from a road rage disorder. So if you scored 1 to 7, if you scored a 7, so you gave it a 1 on all the other ones, you have a parking space angry driving disorder. Okay. Now, someone just would want to sample here an example of what's happening. So I'm going to ask you, are you a driver, professional driver? No, you just drive your own car. So I get angry when I'm waiting for a car to pull out of their parking space, and as soon as they do, someone rushes in and takes it. How would you rate? If you said from 0 to 5, how would you rate yourself in terms of being angry? So you don't get angry about that. So then the rest wouldn't even apply. You're certainly not going to be angry. So you absolutely don't have any issue around that. Most people do around taking the space. Okay, what about yourself? When someone, you're waiting for a spot, someone pulls out, someone rushes in. Well, how would you rate yourself from 0 to 5? 5. Yeah, a lot of people would give it a 5, not everybody. Now, so when they do that, beeping the horn at them, if you're ready, from 0 to 5, how often would you do that? From never, sometimes, medium, or often?
I'd be mad, but I wouldn't. I'd just drive away.
So you wouldn't beep your horn. You wouldn't yell at them, flip them off, or anything else. All right. So you don't have a parking space driving disorder because you're not showing angry driving. You have a road annoyance issue, but that's not an angry driving issue. You're not showing anger to another driver. Most people do have an angry driving issue around this. Most people do. How about yourself? You don't get angry at someone taking your parking space. Okay. Somebody shake your head if you get really angry at somebody taking your parking. Okay, so let's talk. We got a couple back there. Okay, good. So respect, but at least I've seen you talk to about it. Most people do. So when I ask you, how would you rate how angry you get from 0 to 5 if someone takes the spot you're waiting for?
Yeah, I would say between
3 and a 4. Okay. All right. So if in the original, in the profile determination one, if you gave it a 4, then I would start looking at this more specific profile. So would you beep your horn at the person?
I've gotten down and had conversations, but
You've gotten out and had conversations.
You know, I mean, it tries to be respectful.
So you try to do it in a respectful way.
You know, they should see me, kind of the spot. So,
Now you're a big guy, so they probably will let you have the space.
yeah, I think you never know.
You do.
With the
Swellest guy with the gun, yeah. So did it ever escalate when you went to talk to the person?
no,
It never escalated. Okay, never escalated. Did you ever flip somebody off for taking your parking space?
not a parking space.
Oh, well, what did you flip them off for?
I don't know. I think when I was younger, I remember flipping people off on the freeway.
Okay, what would they do to make you flip them off on a freeway to trigger that? See, a cut-off angry driving pattern. You would flip them off.
And
Get next to them, flip them off. They flipped you back. So it would escalate. So besides flipping off, did you beep your horn? So you would beep your horn. Would you rate how often you did it from 0 to 5 when you were younger? 0 is none, 3 is medium, 5 is like
younger. Yeah, maybe
3. So it's medium. Yeah.
So
So it sounds like you had a cut-off angry driving profile. Your score was, I'm sure, high enough to get you there.
especially when you're going to an appointment that's work and
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I want to talk to somebody who still has. We have 2 people so far who used to have angry driving profiles, but I haven't found somebody. And 53% have this. So, people get angry here, but a lot of you aren't expressing anger or not doing it anymore. What about yourself? You indicated that you get angry or other drives to take your space.
Well, yeah. I mean, if someone takes your parking spot, depending on the situation. I mean, I grew up in San Clemente. It's by the beach. Parking's horrible. So you might be waiting for a parking spot, for a while to get to where you're going.
So you're waiting for a parking space for a while. Someone takes it when it gets available.
Extremely disrespectful.
Yeah. Someone asks you, do you have you beeped your horn at the people if that happened?
The only thing I've ever done is similar to this gentleman. I've had a conversation. I would go down the window and simply ask, "Did you not see me? Yeah, do you feel this is fair what you're doing?" But I never turned violent.
You never flipped them off or anything else. Inside, yeah.
Turn into something larger.
Well, it sounds like you don't have a parking space angry driving profile because you're not expressing anger for another driver, but you feel inwardly angry, but that doesn't constitute an angry driving profile. Andrew, what about yourself?
Maybe when I was younger, but I'm not.
Hey, yeah, when you were younger, what would happen then?
It wouldn't escalate. It's just as far as something.
You would honk the horn at them and go, okay. Okay, how many of you get angry seeing somebody break the rules on the road, like going through a red light? How many of you get angry at that? Okay, we don't have that here. I've had a number of people that I've interviewed who say, yeah, it endangers all of us if they're doing that. I get really angry. Sometimes they go into, but nobody in this room has that issue. Okay. Then we have cut-off angry driver. How many of you get angry when someone cuts you off on the road? Okay, so we already talked to you about that. You get angry with it. How many of you show your anger when someone cuts you off? You show your anger? You don't show anger? Okay. How many of you get angry when someone's tailgating you on the road? Because a lot of people... Okay, Alex, so you get angry. How would you rate your anger from 0 to 5? 0 is none, 1 is sometimes, 3 is medium, 5 is often. How angry would you say you get when someone tailgates you?
Well, the level of anger varies, but every time they do it, it sparks.
It sparks. So how would you rate it from 0 to 5?
About a 3 or 4.
3 or 4. So it's up there. So when that happens, have you ever flipped somebody off of that?
No,
You hit your brakes. Okay, so that's really endangering. You've hit your brakes. People do that. Someone teach you a lesson and hit their brakes and have a collision. So that's it's not road rage. Well, it could be. If they crashed into you, you caused an accident, it will determine you hit your brake. That would be determined as a road rage incident. Somebody could get killed from that. So it's sort of like a borderline road rage disorder. The hitting the brake could be a felony. You're not going to get a felony if they don't crash into you, but if they crash into you, you could be implicated in a felony. Does that have an effect on you hearing that?
Yeah.
It does, yeah, hear that, yeah. Yeah.
I try and warn them.
Yeah.
When they see me looking at them.
Yeah, they might see it. They may not,
Kind of tap the brake.
They tap the brakes a little bit. Yeah.
If it doesn't register, then I'll.
Yeah. Well, you're at risk for an anger. You're kind of a borderline road rage disorder with that. So hearing that, and you're a professional driver driving a truck, right?
I'm a personal.
Your personal, your truck, So a number of people make that distinction when they, as a professional, a lot of times they don't. But you have plenty of truck drivers that do. Plenty that do. Yeah. And, okay, so have you beeped your horn at somebody for tailgating at you when they okay. Have you ever let them get ahead of you and then flick your headlights up and down if it happened that night?
Yeah.
You've done that to them, so you flick your headlights up and down.
I put the brights and I'll follow them.
Follow them for a while. Yeah, so that could distract them, could cause a collision. You definitely have a tailgate angry driving profile. Absolutely, you have a tailgate angry driving profile, and it's pretty common. And it's serious. It's a serious thing. And by going through this and getting an awareness of it, and this kind of testing that we're doing, it could be an eye opener, and it could help you right there. So you go, I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever, or it's nothing personal. Believe me, the person who tailgates you, that's what they do. It's not because it's you or your kind of car or anything else. It's just that's what they do. After you get out, if you get out of the way, they pick up to the next person and tailgate them, pushing them out of the way. It's just what they do.
Like the last one I noticed, it was a woman, and I would think she was doing it. That's just what she does.
It's nothing personal. So which would you like? Which do you think helps you more? I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever, or it's nothing personal?
I think both of them.
Both of them. Yeah, they're both true. You don't want to let people control. You don't want to let those people control your anger, and it's nothing personal. And if they don't know you, they don't care about you. They just want to get going, slowing them down in their mind. And, you know, and you never get out and hit anybody. I know you, that's not something you would do. You don't, and I'm sure you don't throw something at them, let them pass and throw something at them. What have you know? Okay, okay. But you have hit your brakes to teach them a lesson. So if you scored 1 or above on items 7, 8, 9, or 10, you have an extreme endangered angry driving of a tailgated angry driving problem. If you even a 1, like 10, slamming on your brakes, let them pass and throw something at them, stalking them, getting your car, hitting or threatening them. A 1 on any of those is an extreme tailgated angry driver profile. It's extreme. And slamming the brakes could even become a road rage, could be a road rage disorder if you cause a collision. So you see how this is working. Now, patient angry driver, this one's a shorter one. If you score 4 above on items 2 to 5, you have an impatient angry driving problem. The higher the score, the more severe the profile. How many of you get angry if somebody's slowing you down? You're on the road, person in front of you is going real slowly, can't get around them, or even you can't get around them. How many of you get angry with that? Okay, so we have a few people angry at that. So I'm going to go with that. So let's get it. How angry do you get from 0 to 5?
That depends.
Yeah, if you had to just take a number from that, how that happens once in a while, you get angry, medium, or often?
Lately, it's been less.
Less. How did it used to be?
It used to be about 5.
5, so you get really, really antagonized. But did you beep the horn at them when they're slowing you down? You beep the horn.
The duck when we had the air horn.
Yeah, you beep the air horn. So yeah. You see, he's laughing. People do find these stories funny. I mean, I've always found when we talked about angry driving, sometimes you see some sweet old lady tell you, yeah, I flipped the guy off, and people just think that's hilarious that this little old lady's flipping people off. And it's really tragic what it does, but there's something that makes people laugh about it. I always get a lot of laughs doing these road rage things, and you know, that's kind of what can happen. And then it's not funny anymore, but when you hear the stories, it's kind of funny. So, so you beep your horn. So when you do that, do you then come, how do you ever get to where you just tailgate them and come in close behind them? Just to kind of, not a bigger, with your car?
On a car, I'm anticipating they're going to stop, so you
don't get too close. At night, do you flick your headlights up and down on them?
Yeah, I'll leave them.
You leave them on, so you get to really hitting them in the eyes with that. And I'm sure you never hit their rear bumper, or have you? You never got that far? Okay. So if you scored a 4 or above on items 2 to 5, you have an impatient, angry driving problem. And the higher the score, the more severe the profile. Now, did I do already the parented angry driving profile? Did I go over that one? The details of that one? I did that one. Did the parking space one. We did the impatient angry driver one. We did the tailgater profile. We did the cutoff angry profile. Oh, here it is, instructor angry profile. Here we go. I was looking for that. This one, if you score a total of 3 or above, you have an instructor angry profile. The higher the score, the more severe the profile. Just 4 questions on this. When I see people go through a red light, I sometimes try to catch up and yell at them. How many people get angry at seeing people break the rules on the road? How many of you get angry at that? We have one person that gets angry. Or you get angry also? Or no, one you're not sure of, one does get angry. Okay, so you get angry. How angry do you get seeing people break the rules, Henry, on the road? I go through. Yes. No, you're getting angry at this.
Get angry.
They break the rules and they get angry. But you don't get angry. So nobody in this room gets angry at others. Okay, we call that the instruct angry driving. There are people who get really angry and go over and tell the person off. Maybe if the person pulls off the road, they'll even go pull up to the gas pump with them, get out and say, hey, you went through a red light back there. Well, you got to be careful. And so, and not a polite way to just inform them, so to become that's why I call an instructor angry driver thing. They're angry, and they're self-appointed instructors. They're not on any stipend or grant. Nobody's paying them. You have a lot of self-appointed teachers that feel it's their civic duty to go and do this, but it's not really even safe to do it, and it can create a problem. And people know they're breaking the rules. I mean, you're telling them that. Maybe it could have an effect, and typically the effect is you're going to get angry at you. And maybe they're learning something, maybe. When I see someone violate any traffic rules, I sometimes yell at them or flip them off or beat my horn. When I see a car with only, here's one breaking the rules. See how this one is for you. When I see a car with only the driver and no passengers and they're in the diamond lane, I sometimes yell at them or flip them off or beat my horn. How do you get angry seeing somebody in the diamond lane with just a driver and no passengers? Nobody here gets angry at that. Okay. Depends on the demographics. People, here we have more instructor angry drivers. Parking space angry driver, we did that one. Now we went over the profile determination. So you can see after we do the 7-question profile determination, we take the ones which are 4 or 5, and then we go to specific tests. So I want to ask you, on understanding these things, I want to know just even the profiles themselves. One, I've given you the cure. I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever. And it's nothing personal. So I want to know, I want you to be honest, whether you find it helpful in terms of your own driving patterns, which is super important to you and the community. How helpful, was that helpful to you or was not helpful to you? Helpful in what way was it helpful to you?
To say not to take it personally.
Not to take it personally was helpful to you. You take it personally.
I'll do it. I'm going to me. We all do it individually. It's not only another person doing it. It's just we do it too.
You make the same mistake. Yeah. That's what makes me that's right. I've done so many stupid things that all makes me very tolerant of other people's errors. Yeah. So not taking it personally was important. But what for you was this helpful to you to see these different profiles?
Let's take it personally.
So not taking it personally was a key concept for you. What about the different types in terms of cut-off angry driver, tailgating angry driver, parking space angry driver? Is that nomenclature, that way of describing it, is that helpful to you or it's really not helpful to you? It's not that helpful for you. Okay. Now, what about yourself? What was this helpful to you to hear these different profiles and the cures or not?
Yeah, it just puts a lot of stuff into perspective. Like, we see people on the road getting angry at different stuff, and kind of lets you know this is why.
So it helps you understand what's going on the road. So it gives you understanding there are different types of angry driving profiles.
And pretty sure we've all either been around or in a car with somebody with at least one or more of those.
Yeah, so when you see it, you can say, I think this person, maybe his parents, he's a parented angry driver, or he's a cut-off angry driver, or he's an instructor. You will eventually. Have you ever been in a car where somebody went to tell somebody that you went through a red light or they made a mistake? You have been in a car. Yeah. So many of you have seen somebody do it, go and tell it and instruct somebody, self-appointed instructor. What about yourself, Phil? Was these concepts and this nomenclature useful to you, or the concepts of how to overcome it useful or not?
Yeah, I think it was helpful.
It's helpful to you to understand that. Yeah. What about for yourself?
This is not taking it personally.
Not taking it personally. It seems like the concept of not taking it personally was very useful for people. Now, what of these concepts and ideas and profiles have been useful to you?
That one, that not taking it personally.
Not taking it personally for you.
I never didn't realize it.
The key is on that one, you got to repeat once an hour for 3 weeks, nothing personal. That way you internalize it. Yeah, what else?
Really, just that one. That one just.
What about knowing that these different angry driving profiles, the parking space angry profile, the instructor angry profile, the cutoff angry profile, the tailgating angry profile, the parented angry profile, is that nomenclature helpful for you to conceptualize what's going on the road or not?
Well, it helps to know that, or to realize about the felony part of
the felony part. If you slam your brakes, yeah, that'll be dangerous for you. Yeah. Yeah, but if you slam the brakes and they crash into you, then you could be up for a felony.
Afraid of that I caused.
Yeah, if they veer off because or crash into either one, and that would be considered road rage, and it would be which is felonious angry driving. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that part of it.
And also, what do you think of the idea of I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever?
That one, yeah. And it's, I guess I have to say it every hour.
For 3 weeks.
Yeah. But a lot of times, like my anger is just, it's in the moment,
Yeah. But you know what? If you're getting your psyche prepared for this, you may flare up for a second, and then but I refuse to allow you to control my that will help. One, it's less likely to happen because you're repeating this thought, and if it does come, it gives you a way to balance it. What you need to know is that anger you get at other drivers, believe it or not, that's not really you. You didn't say, you know what, I want to get angry at other drivers on the road. You never made that decision, did you? So how can you say it's you? You can't even be responsible for that. You're the thought you choose to have. So if you have the thought, nothing personal, or I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever, that's you. You're a person who doesn't take things personally and not going to let others control your anger ever. You're the thought you choose to have. So the anger which is very powerful, that initial reaction is very strong, but that's not really the thoughts that pop into your mind do not define who you are. You're the thought you choose to have.
One time, years ago, I was working for Mervyn, and I had parked the truck to go eat, and the parking lot was empty. And this person thought it was funny. Well, I guess I didn't see them, but parked along the whole parking lot in a way where I couldn't. It'd be hard for me to get out.
Hard for you to get out.
So, I think under that condition, it's hard to prevent them from controlling you, because I'm at a time limit. And
yeah. Well, you could go and say to the person, listen, I need to get out of your car's blocked. You're going to find them. They didn't quit fight. And they just left it. So you were locked in. Yeah. Yeah.
broke his mirror.
He broke his mirror. All right. You see how you're laughing? That's what people do. They laugh over these. I know you wouldn't do it today. But I just want you to point out that people laugh at other people smiling about it. It's very common to laugh over these angry driving things. That's amazing. I've seen it for 15 years. Every time I give a seminar, I see we're going to have a lot of laughs today. What? When you hear people tell their angry driving stories, you're going to crack up. It's not that I'm funny. This somehow tickles people. So it's very interesting. But so that wasn't it. So there was an angry driving incident of being blocked. It's a pretty slowing you down. It's an example of slowing you down. Really. Yeah. We couldn't get out, so you were locked in. Oh, yeah.
They were watching me.
Yeah.
In the mirror.
Positive in the mirror. Well, I want to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, a privilege, an honor to be able to share this very valuable information on the 6 patterns of angry driving profiles and the cures. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.